morning to everybody. Good morning, sir. So yesterday when Innov called me, I had to address a group of students today, basically on the program. I told him probably could have informed me a little earlier. It's too short a period. Primarily because I felt anything that has to be delivered to the community, the students, where they are looking for some kind of nurturing, where they need for ideas, has to be addressed in a right manner to them. That's what I was telling him. In that background, I just want to tell you that I am not prepared for any speech or something like that. But what I thought I can tell you is, probably we will make it a more of an interactive session where I would want you people to come up with cuisines. In any entrepreneurial venture, there are a lot of things to be taken up. Like for example, probably I will say, just to give a feedback, okay, if I want to be an entrepreneur, what is it that I would look for to start with? See, 10 years before, if you look at, probably money will be the greatest limitation to start any kind of a venture. But today, it still is, but it is not as bad as it was 10, 15 years before. Today, the economy has grown so much, the ideas have been over. Today, if you have a sustainable idea, money is there for the asking. It is not as it was 10, 15 years before, where only a core industry can come up. Today, all you need is one seed of idea for you to make it a sustainable business model. See, that's what entrepreneurship is all about. It need not be that you have to have a crores and crores of rupees to start a business today. Like, as we go along, Ramesh will tell you what is possible if only you have an idea. What is possible for you to achieve in this sphere. See, just to talk about what India was in the 90s when I finished my graduation and what we are today, there is a substantial transitional change that has happened over the last 20 years' time. I still remember when I had to travel abroad for the first time way back in the 90s to get a travel quota of $500. I have to run around, I have to do, I'm talking about when I want to do it officially for the normal channels. I had to fill up so many forms, I had to go to the bank 3-4 days in advance, they had to send it to the regional office and get it organized just for $500. Today, 20 years later, anybody can walk into any bank if they want to send some money out, something like $200,000 is there without any asking. To that extent we have grown. What is that has really enabled this kind of a transition from a totally dependent economy to a free-flowing economy over the last 20 years' time? Ultimately, if you look at in Indian context, over the last 20 years, one of the industries which have grown tremendously, apart from the core industries, is the IT sector. Within this, if you look at the way we have grown, what is something which is very peculiar about India in relation to various other developed economies? We have the largest skilled human talent in any field of activity. What was very much lacking was the entrepreneurial stint. In that sense, we have nurtured or we have extensively used our talents, the hidden talents, to render service to others. But then what we have missed out is our own strength, the core strengths, because some kind of a lack of fear or lack of a background or lack of parental support or whatever reasons, we have been more keen to render services to the outside community than to do it for ourselves. In that sense, there has been a lack of entrepreneurial ability. I wouldn't say entrepreneurial, but rather the entrepreneurial efforts from our side. But now times are changing. Take economic times, the ideas for change, where they have been achieving this program for the last 3 years' time, and where they try to pick up ideas. A sustainable business model is what we talk about it. As long as there is an idea, there is ample opportunity for it to grow today. See, 20 years back, I wanted to become I have a passion for investment management. I want to become a stockbroker, not with the idea of trading, but more to do portfolio management on a very large scale. And started back I was in employment for 3 years with whatever little bit I could manage to save in the 3-year period. I picked up a dealership with the Mega Stock Exchange. I said I want to move on further. What had happened, the technology growth in the transition period of 3 to 4 years time was so much, all the regional exchanges has had a natural death, and NSE took over very long, on a very large and a very faster pace, and the entry cost at that time to pick up a membership was too high, which we could not afford. As a person, I come from a typical village background, coming from a very middle class family, where the only avenue for growth for me was the education which my parents could afford at that point of time. What had happened? See, the kind of limitations were there. But today, if I have an idea, and if I am able to convince somebody that it's a sustainable business model, what do you mean by sustainable business model? I would say first, it should be, as a financial model, you should be able to sustain it over a period of time. You should be able to substantially contribute to the society at large, and you should have a wider reach in terms of the geographical or in terms of the number of people it reaches. So that is where you are able to grow some kind of a sustained revenue model. As a finance person, what is it that I will look at? If I have to support somebody in an entrepreneurial venture, what is it that I look at? 15 years before, if you ask me, or as I look at more like a bank, okay, do you want this X amount of money? Okay, what is it that you will be able to offer? Will somebody guarantee you that you will repay the money? Or will some kind of a collateral security you will offer to me? That's the typical questions which you ask, which totally drains your energy as an entrepreneur. But today, it is not like that. If I have a model, if I have some ideas, which I think will be, so what is the first question I try to look at it? Okay, this is the idea. What is the potential for this idea to be tapped into as a commercial venture? That's what I will first look at it. And what is the urge in me to sustain that? Is it going to benefit the community at large? Is it going to benefit the society at large? Can this model be replicated time and again over a wider geographical area? These are some of the thoughts which I thought I should put forth before you on this forum. Next thing, what is that you look at it? Okay, any entrepreneurial venture has its own ups and downs. I am not saying that everybody who starts as an entrepreneur succeeds in the first attempt. It doesn't mean that everybody who starts fails either. There are many success stories are there, and every entrepreneur in his own way, probably in some of his early stages he might have failed. For some it clicks on the first attempt, for some it takes time. But then at the end of the day, as long as you are able to keep the entrepreneurial effort sustained, as long as you have the passion for whatever you believe is your ability, as long as you have the desire to win, there is no way the entrepreneurial spirit in you can be killed. That's what I would want to convey as a message. I now leave the forum open for discussion. Anything, basically I would want to answer more on the financial aspects of entrepreneurship. See, a lot of people get into entrepreneurship, but somewhere down the line, some of the aspects more with respect to the financial planning and the financial aspect of is driven to the back seat. The kind of efforts they take to develop the business, if the same kind of efforts is not being put into the financial control aspect of it. Of course, as an entrepreneur, you have to take a willing risk, and you have to be a willing risk taker. You should dare to take risk. At the same time, it cannot be ignored as such. So the finance is on the forefront of any entrepreneurial venture. The reason being, the resources available to you are scarce and limited. So how effectively you are going to put it into practice so that you are able to get better mileage out of that. This is what something I would want you to look at it in any of your entrepreneurial ventures. Going forward, I am open to any questions which are more relevant for finance, or what kind of efforts you can take, how you will be able to generate finance in any kind of a venture. We'll make it as an open session. The more I am able to contribute, the better for me and for you. Thank you a lot.